We are
And we are
live.
live. Welcome.
Welcome to another Zee Zed. We are joining you live from uh, Montreal and and Maine.
Maine.
Zee
Pretty
Zed.
close, actually.
Yeah,
Both
pretty close,
East
pretty
East
close.
Coast, Eastern time zone. So, what do we have on
It is.
topic today?
Let's see. Organization. we're very well organized, as you can tell. I'm just going to open up my notes.
I think
That's
we're
one
going to talk
thing
about
we.
physical organization. That's the key.
Yes, yes. And we have a little buzzing, but we'll deal with that, Austin. Got a little bit of buzzing here, but
Is it?
yeah, but that's okay. These are things that these are things that happen.
Okay.
I am going to, yeah. So the background music is a bit much, which is
Just lowered it a bit.
interesting. Okay, so you've got it lowered. We're good. Okay. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is the giveaway that I'm going to pin, and it also should be in the comments. Yeah, Zombie's from Maine. Zombie lives in Maine. At least I think so. Is that where you are right now?
Yeah, I
Awesome.
live in the good old state of Maine. It's quite cold right now.
So, oh, I can't pin it for some reason. Why can't I pin my own? Is there a mod that can pin it? Maybe it is in the comments too. It is in the. It is in, sorry, not the comments. It's in the description. So enjoy
I think you have
that.
to pin it as MakerDeck, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Let me go to. So many moving parts. All right. So I'm going to go to. This is great. This is what we do. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. So, how
Okay.
do we stay
So
organized? That's the big question
one
of
of
the
the
day,
things we
right?
do. Yeah. One of the things we do is we keep very good notes. Up pin message. There we go.
There you go.
There we
And
go.
the link is in the description as well if you are on mobile or can't access it. So this is a global giveaway for Polymaker Filament, one spool of PLA, PETG, ABS, and ASA, where items are in stock and valid.
Mhm. All right. So, um, keeping organized. Why is that important? Why would you say is that's important?
Well, as a maker, we tend to collect a lot of things and work on a lot of projects. And I myself tend to work on about 20 or 30 things at once. So if I can work on something and know exactly where the tools are, it's really nice and allows for a good workflow. And honestly, it's a waste of time to not know where stuff is. I spend more
Mhm.
time searching for things than actually working on stuff.
So how did you, I guess, you started streaming what, in the fall, summer? No, before
It's like
then.
summer.
Yeah, summer.
Yeah.
And when you started streaming, you had quite the space going on, lots of things going on, lots of printers and things. You still do, but I see that it is getting a little bit better. When I
Yep.
started doing some stuff on MakerDeck, I was in this tiny little office, this very cramped space, and yeah, as Perillo just said, we tend to print a lot of things to collect. Now, there are some people that print things that are very practical, which we're actually going to show you a few very practical things this evening. But yeah, it's you know figuring out what your space is and how to deal with it. So I think one of the things that I've done, and I guess it's the first thing, is the this whole system, but also planning it out. Um, what are your strengths in at least getting organized?
I can generally, I at least know what to do, and I think that is a strength, is having the ability to know exactly how to plan stuff. I can take all of my stuff and make a diagram, a list of where everything goes. Like for example, all of my filament is going to go on the wall, or all of this is going to go here, and I can visualize kind of where everything should go. So that's the strength. But the weakness is following through and completing the organization.
Yeah,
What about
it's
you?
kind of like what RC is saying. Yeah, RC is saying, I took all the maker boxes I had and randomly put them in a pile, and I'm bothered by it, but I keep going. I'll put them in order later. A lot of
Hmm.
things that people do, especially I think it's like a generational thing. Is like there's chaos boxes or chaos piles. So a lot of people will like throw things in a box and say, I'll deal with it later. Um,
Hmm.
that's where a strength and weakness is. Right now, it is a strength for me because when I was moving, I just went and like threw things. But now that I'm unpacking, I'm even if things are going into a box, like I was actually telling you earlier today that I have doom boxes. Yeah, that's another name for it. Fix them, dude. I have um, you know, two containers of stationery and a banker's box full of stationery. At least I know that that's what it is and that's what's in it. And I'm a very visual person, very visual person. Hence the rep racks, hence things laid out. That's why I have the desk that I have, for example. Um,
Hmm.
that's my strength. My weakness is, yeah, once something is put away, um, either forget I have it or I just don't think about it. So out of sight, out of mind is my biggest weakness. And so to sort of navigate that, at least in my new space, it's everything has a place and there's a place for everything. And
Yeah.
so that's why, 2 weeks after my like big official move, I don't have everything unpacked because I don't necessarily have the storage space set up for everything. So one thing that I'm doing in the next little while is my best friend is very good at organizing spaces and stuff, and she's going to come over and like we'll organize the kitchen and get that all set up. But as a maker for a maker space, the one thing I really wanted was to have this taken care of as soon as possible. So I'm just going to briefly go over um, the rep rack system. So this is at the old place. At the old place, I had a Billy bookshelf, I had collectibles, and I had all of my spools of filament just hanging around. And as Austin knows, uh, it is not fun to have filament just stacked like that. When you want to grab
Hmm.
that filament, it just
The one
it
you want is always on
um,
the bottom every time.
the one thing I did do there is that all of my filament was at least trimmed with clips on it, so it was organized in that sense. I was inspired, and I think a lot of us have been inspired by our friend Kevin and his rep racks, which have actually grown since this picture, and his whole office, his whole organization, where like he even has, like, if you look in the corner there, he's got his photo box, his light box. He's got like all of his tools, and he's got I think he does both Gridfinity and the hex system to
Right. Yep.
organize things. And yeah, and that's a magnetic, like there's partially a magnetic wall and stuff. So I was definitely inspired by that. And he did help me in, we went into Tinkercad with the furniture that I had with the exact measurements and sort of plan out at least this area and my bedroom, which is right here, like on the other side of a calyx unit, as you can see right there, like on the other side of this desk. So I look right at a calyx unit, and then my bedroom's right there, right through there. So that was really helpful in getting things set up. Was actually planning this time around. I had the advantage of knowing the space ahead of time and being able to plan ahead of time. So with that, of course, this we sort of covered on an earlier Z and Zed, but since we're on YouTube, welcome to Rep Racks. And we will have all the links below for people that are tuning in after this live broadcast. So I did 6 5-foot racks. I anchored the cleats into the wall studs, and I used a level, and I measured many times. This was a Polymaker project because I'm a partner with Polymaker. So I used Polylite PLA Pro, Polymax. I used Polylite PLA Pro, and I used Polyterra. That's what the lavender purple is there. But yeah, if you were using Polymaker, you could use Polymax, or of course you could use something like PetG for the cleats and hangers. I used number 8 wood screws. They were 3 inches long. You could use drywall screws. Anyway, get them all installed. There are kits available from Repcord, or of course you can print them from printables. So we'll put those links again below. The hangers I printed on my Prusa, and I put them at 0.3 for strength. And again, you use a strong filament. The cleats, again, you want to use a strong filament. And you can either go with the wall color or go with fun colors. Very recently, I've seen some people's rep racks in really fun colors. I did a color scheme. What are you doing for your colors, Austin?
Well, the main brackets, like I showed, are going to be just silver. This is just a metallic silver. I thought it'd be nice and kind of plain because I have a lot of colors of filament, and it's easier to match all the prints. So it's either you match them all and kind of have one scheme, or you go for a lot of colors like what you've done.
Okay.
And it's a great way to use up. Maybe you have like a little bit of filament left over on a spool. You can turn it into a rep rack, so it's a great way to use up filament. Otherwise than that, the end caps, which you're showing on screen,
yes,
are decorative and they're not structural. You can print those off in anything. So I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do with that.
Yeah, it could be fun to like do. You like a lot of color, as I do.
Yep.
I actually, for my end caps, I did use Sparta's Nebula, and also the blue rose. So I use that just for fun because the end caps are but they do keep the racks from wobbling. And there's my rep racks, the way that I got them organized. And I've sort of arranged and rearranged, and as you can see behind me, I sort of played around with the filament, and it helps me stay, keep everything in place. And there's the end caps again, and yeah, so that was my like major planning to be organized. And at least this space has no chaos. It feels very nice. It feels very, very nice.
It's very clean, very organized. It looks like it was designed, honestly.
RC says, oh yeah, so, and Heath is here. Hello, Heath. He says, I love seeing a project like that come together. In MakerDeck, I have, in our Discord, I do have a link to that whole project and all the links for that as well. But of course, it'll be in the description. And we encourage other people to share, what they're doing to stay organized. We have a lot of that in the Zee and Zed section of Discord too. So, and Austin, you're in the process of doing that. But one thing that has definitely cropped up in the last week or so is, of course, when you're doing a project, how do you stay organized?
Right. And yes, I am working on my setup. Maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll have some rep racks up and some more. These aren't walls, so it's hard to attach stuff to walls. So adding walls and adding storage onto walls is going to be critical. So how do I stay organized? Let's jump into our first topic, the trays. You want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a link to a nice model. I designed this. So this was for a printables contest. It's closed now, and it was mostly for fun, and it is in use, so I have to be careful. But this is my Outrun style sorting tray. Hey, and Liz has one too, a little bit smaller. And what's
Yeah, I
really cool
think
about
that's very
this,
interesting.
it's actually practical for 3D printing because a lot of times I'm just assembling maybe a portion of the printer and I need to sort a few screws, but they're all different lengths. So it's nice to just have stuff in a dedicated section, a lot of small containers versus some of the bigger ones that you can have large sections in. So that was a nice little project I did, and I think it looks cool too. I love when
Yeah,
like practical things look good, so that's why I was excited to design and print this.
yeah, you can be decorative and functional. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and yeah, what I love about this is uh like when I'm working on my printers, I you should put something on the build plate. So I know that this is like safe to be on the build plate in case I leave the heat on, which happens sometimes. And also it catches all the little tiny like, there's all kinds of that's why I made it little so I could print it faster that day. But I love it this size because it just gets, well, actually, I'll show you what I can tuck it away on because I have actually did two versions. Pink also created a catch-all tray, which is in the printables contest.
I still need
And
to
this
print
is
that. It looks
the first
really
one I
nice.
printed, which actually matches our background right now. It's kind of fun. So this is in the Sparta burnt titanium, and also the Sparta rose, blue rose. But it turned out being like this really fun purple color, which is almost the same as our background. So this is the miniature version, and I liked it so much that I printed the bigger version, and it is going to hold like my tools that I'm doing. Like I do have the MakerDeck
Hmm.
drippy pails. Those are fantastic
Yeah,
for like my
I
bigger tools, like all of that.
use
But
this
this
one.
is great to have right by the printer because I can hold like the sticks that I get my filament jams out of. Um, I have I have nozzles. I have clips. You know, these clips that people hear about. I even have a calibration cube just sitting here, but it's like a sort of a catch-all thing to hold everything that I use by the printer. And I find that my bottle of alcohol can fit on there too. It's big enough for that, and it really is a great catch-all for that. For that. Oh, Adam's asking the purplish color at the top of your tray.
Yeah, so the three colors are these are all Polymaker. It's just orange, Galaxy Dark Blue, and then PLA Pro Magenta. So three
And
of the
I
like outrun
did,
colored stuff.
yeah, I did Polyterra Savannah Yellow. I actually did four colors. I did the Polyterra, the Polymaker teal, and then I used two different blues, which were the sapphire blue and the silk blue.
Yeah, I like yours too. How you did the background different color than the walls. Again, it's
Yeah.
just color swaps. So, and I designed this one so you can do some color swaps. So if you decide to print it, play around with it. It's fun.
Mhm. And I
All
love
right,
some.
so those are the catch-all trays. And once
Mhm.
again, when you're working on something, it's nice to be able to put it somewhere instead of on your desk. Especially stuff like SD cards. How many times you've just like thrown it on your desk and then now it's gone because you knocked it on the ground. So just put it in a tray, keep it stored.
Mhm. I actually have a really cute thing that I got from Printables, which this is like a little bonus for my SD cards as I stretch my mic to the limit for my SD cards because I don't have Octoprint or anything like that. This attaches right to my Mark III, and so it's a SD card holder, and it's a really so that was a fun little thing to print, and
There's a
that
lot of
just
tool
snaps
holders that are
in the top.
designed for specific printers. You keep
Yeah.
your Allen key, maybe a little nozzle wrench right on there. Just that's another
Hmm.
thing. Keep your tools where you will be using them. That sounds obvious, but keeping stuff as close as possible to the workspace, that's always a good thing. I have a lot of tools out in the garage that if I'm in a hurry, I'm not going to go outside and get them. I'm going to try to improvise, use the wrong tool. So just kind of keep everything as close as possible.
Hmm. Yep. That website is having some problems right now, so don't worry about it till later if you're having a little bit of a problem. Anybody? So I mean, that's trays are one thing, and trays are very good when you're actually working on a project. I always learned that, like when, of course, I built a lot of IKEA recently, and I had either a dish, and I kind of wish I had these trays because it would have helped me like sort for the specific steps. But also another thing, if you're like me, uh, is to have different types of bins and different types of containers for things. I like to use, actually, you have some things like this, like these are like the cereal type containers. I like a lot of clear stuff, but now I'm starting, because I have my calyx units. I'm they're going to be color the bins are going to be color coded for specific things. But you also have some different things. I see that you said you have these. You have Tell us about your bins.
My bins. Not. I don't have a link to these, but under this desk, I have just
Hmm.
stacking large drawers. So just cheap plastic drawer containers. All of this is full of it, and it's a great catch-all for just random stuff. So I have just
Hmm.
general bins of just general stuff. It's nice to be able to keep everything out of the way. And sliding drawers are nice too, because if you have stacks of bins, just regular storage bins, if you need something on the bottom, it's kind of difficult to get to. So stuff that pulls out. But otherwise, I use, and this is the lid, I
Hmm.
use these easy bins. They're just
Okay.
storage bins, but they have this blue gasket on them, and that keeps them waterproof or water resistant. For 3D printing, that means that your container is sealed. So you can store all of your hydroscopic filaments like PETG, ABS, ASA, nylons, and anything else that is pretty much not PLA. It should be
Hmm.
stored in a dry environment. All filament should be stored in a dry environment, but PLA is less susceptible to moisture in general, so it's generally left out like this. But all of my filament that needs to stay dry is stored in a dry container.
Perfect.
I have a link to
And
that. I'll post that in chat.
excellent. And we'll have all these links in the description below as well. And I see here Acro Mills containers. So what are Acro
Yeah,
Mills containers?
a lot of people have these, and I didn't know what they were until I saw a pretty good deal on Amazon. So that is
Hmm.
the storage bins behind me. They're
Okay.
they're wall mountable or desk placeable. They stack on top of each other, and they're just really high quality parts bins. You'll find them a lot in maker spaces or like electronics labs where you have a lot of little items but a large quantity of them. So in mine I have resistors and different electronics, wires, larger things, but you can use them for 3D printing as well. Nozzles,
Hmm.
SD cards, random things.
Yeah.
But what it
When I did beadwork, I had containers like that, and they were super useful because for all the different colors and supplies.
Yeah, and those are they can be a little pricey, but if
Hmm.
you consider printing something like that, that is a lot to print. I tried printing like a little base mode system.
Hmm.
It's okay, but something like that is going to be a lot easier, especially for the price. So that is a link in chat for those. And something special about these is since they're popular, there are collections and mods on printables. So if that's a link to search printables for
Hmm.
dividers and different organizers for those bins. So you can buy a version with the large bins and then or print sorting stuff. That's the best of both worlds.
All right. And I guess I tend to use, for all of my organization right now. I have both storage and furniture in the same sort of thing. That's part of the planning out of the room. So I use the IKEA Calyx, um, to have everything that's here. And then I have an IKEA dresser. That's what my printers are up on. And those I found are very useful. And now that I've put them to use in this room, I'm definitely going to have that for my living room too. I'm going to have a whole bookshelf. I'm going to have a whole thing that's going to be mostly Star Wars, and then some of my bookshelf, and I'll probably use another one as a full bookshelf um, in my decor. But the IKEA Kallax units are certainly affordable, and I know that Target and some other they make the same or
They're
similar.
13-inch
Yeah,
storage cube organizers, and
yeah,
I
and
use
you can
those
get
heavily as
different
well.
types of yeah, and you can put different types of cubes inside. Like, well, this one has a laptop in it, so I'm not going to lift it up. But definitely, yeah, you can have those sorts of storage systems. Um, what else do we have here? You have some other things too. You have
Yeah,
you have another type of shelf that you use.
another type of shelf. Let me check my
I
list.
see
So,
mesh rack shelf.
yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the two types of larger shelf units and why you might
Mm-hmm.
want a storage. These are racks. So, storage racks are extremely useful for creating space out of thin air. If you just think about shelves, they can only come so far off the wall, and you're pretty limited with shelves as well. But storage container or storage racks like this, you can place anywhere. They come in many different
Mm-hmm.
sizes, and I picked out two examples of the two main types of shelves. So this one that I posted first, I have upstairs in my kitchen. They are solid tube racks with wire mesh shelves that slide onto them. They're
Mm-hmm.
extremely rigid. They would actually be great for 3D printing because the shelves are just on there. And
Okay.
they have wheels generally as well because it's one solid piece. So they're great to move around. That's a really good option. Although a lot of them are wire racks, so you might want to put something on there like a thin sheet of hardboard or plywood, etc. So those are quite nice, and a lot of them are also like kitchen certified, so you can use them for food storage.
All right.
And then the one I have behind me, I don't know the specific name. Someone
Okay.
can add in chat, but it's the one where you can adjust the height of the shelves by putting them on these pegs right here. And then on top of them, there are usually like a laminate shelf. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a piece of board that slots in. These ones are a lot more finicky to set up. They can be quite challenging at first. Muscle Rack, is that a name brand or is that
Muscle
the
rack.
the type? But these ones are generally cheaper and they're modular, so they usually come in different sections and different lengths, different heights, as well as the other one. They both come in different sizes. But I like this one because
Ah.
it has already a flat base. That's a name brand. Okay. It has a flat surface on them. And I've had pretty good luck with mine. Some people, if you get the really cheap MDF ones, those might not be strong enough. Boltless shelving. Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
And the nice advantage of having the little rivets in it is that you can have attachments for that
Yes,
and do that. I
you can
will say
3D print
that type
stuff that'll slot
yeah, and
on.
that type of shelving. My mom worked for TD Bank, but the banks merged, the branches merged, and they had a lot of that shelving. And my dad like grabbed it right away. And my
Yeah,
mom's like, why do we need this? We don't need this, Glenn. We're fine in the basement. Well, fast forward to 10 years later, when the neighbor's willow tree actually strangled the plumbing and all the sewage backed up. Sorry, all the runoff water or whatever, like that pipe went into my parents' basement. Having that shelving and having all of the stuff in that was stored, it wasn't a finished basement. Having all of that on those types of shelves saved like all of our childhood memories. Everything was in
yeah,
Rubbermaid bins. If it had been in a Rubbermaid bin on the floor, it likely would have been swept away. the stormwater drain. Yeah, like everything it was a disaster, and it was actually the town's fault, and like my parents actually, with the insurance and everything, they were fine, but they did lose a lot of stuff that had been, on the ground, but everything that was on those shelves was definitely saved, and it was very, it was we were very fortunate, and having either a disaster or a move really does make you reconsider what you're keeping and what you're storing. I know that it's a very North America problem to just keep stuff. So I mean that's a
Yeah.
whole other. We probably need a psychologist or something to deal with that. The idea of stuff. I think it goes down from generations, like people who survived the depression and survived war and stuff like that, and what they keep. Um, where I'm originally from, a lot of the need to keep things stored is because we were a remote area at one point. Actually, you and Maine were also considered remote at different times, and I'm sure we both have grandparents and like relatives and stuff that like keep their freezer. There was we had this one relative, and she had a stand up freezer that had probably 15 loaves of bread and like as many sticks
Right.
of
Yeah.
butter that she could fit in there. Like she always had enough of everything, even though, the store was almost across the street, but she still had it ingrained in her, like from her childhood and stuff, to make sure you store all that stuff. And then there are different cultural and religious reasons to like keep things, especially stores of food and stuff like that. But definitely, stuff is a very North America thing because we have the luxury of space. So as a maker, you have to be, very. I think that's one of the reasons why like a filament rack is so important, because you see what you have, and I think it makes, for at least for me, it makes me want to use what I have, and
Yep.
and the ease of
Keeping
having.
stuff as open
Yeah,
as possible so you can just see it.
yeah.
You're more likely to use it. You're more likely to put it back if it's easily accessible and
Hmm.
storable. That's actually,
But there are
uh,
some things that you put in boxes. So
yes, I'll say Zach Friedman with his Gridfinity system, he specifically designed stuff to be out and stored so you don't
mhm.
put them away, so you can't unsee, so it's all out in the open. But yes, not everything you can buy from the store. So sometimes you have to make your own storage containers and stuff. So I have a couple of printable storage systems.
Hmm.
I shared this last stream, but I will share it again. The S box is a very, very neat system. I have one right behind me. This does take up a considerable amount of filament, but the practicality of a print like this is extremely nice. So not only can you print it in whatever color you want, match different things, or just print it with fun filament, but it locks and stacks, so you can have multiple on top of each other. This specific one has a fold-out tray organizer. I haven't populated mine yet. I'm trying to think of what I'm doing. I'm probably going to print a few more of these and then make myself a little parts kit for something. So these are very nice, and they do take up, again, a fair amount of filament, but they're practical. And RC says that they're going to print some. Yeah, it's fun. Print one of them. They have some smaller ones too. If you don't want the big one, they fit on a Prusa Mini.
Hmm.
They make good organizers for small things.
A great tackle box. Yeah, great tackle box. Also
Yeah,
probably be good for cosmetics.
yep. A
So,
lot of little
or
things.
jewelry. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then
And so
the other one
I
I
also
have.
see. Yeah, let's talk about that, because I know Glendon's working on
Mhm.
something similar too.
It's the same thing. So I saw this, I believe, from Glendon, or Glendon saw it for me. Regardless, this is a printable slide-out storage system. And it's a little more, let's say, strong than some of the other systems. So it's a combination of these slide-out trays that you can print. They're not vase mode, but they are very, very, very strong. They're designed with pretty thick walls. They do take a little while to print, but they slide into this like rack. And I've just started to print offline. I printed off this top cover for the stream
Love
a little
it.
bit ago. Yeah, this is Polymaker's new draft PLA, a good use for just a random thing that you don't really need to be a fancy color.
Yeah, I also have I have the Protopasta recycled black filament. So yeah, that's I could use it for something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are doing those sorts of filaments, and yeah, it's worth testing out and using it for those sorts of things.
Look at that.
So something
My
exciting is
tray
kind of happening.
fits quite well. Like Christian
Voila,
fit.
voila. So something kind of interesting is happening, like behind the scenes. Apparently, we are 3 followers away from 4,000 on MakerDeck on Twitch.
Really?
So maybe by the
MakerDeck
time
on
like
Twitch.
yeah, someday we might rewatch this and we'll be like, oh, I remember that day. It's like so long. But anyway, we are apparently three 3 followers away from 4,000. So
Is it
that's
this?
pretty cool.
Is this
Yes.
MakerDeck?
There's MakerDeck. Look, and it even has a scroll saying, tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Pacific for Zee Zed live on YouTube. And this is where we are. So we're almost there. And, we're here on YouTube because we want to expand MakerDeck even more. We want to give people content that they can come back to, because that's what YouTube is. YouTube is a place where we are home for content. MakerDeck on Twitch is a hub, and also a gathering place and a sharing place 24/7. And so YouTube is the place where we're going to have more structured content, so people are able to come back and learn more. So, and yes, MakerDeck loves you, One Tech Prince. I did see a couple comments there where people were talking about someone wants to talk to you about you not using dark mode. I see here people saying, K2 says, I purchased many spools of filament colors I already had because he didn't see it or wasn't organized. So people are talking about what they're doing for storage. And I think that's sort of where we're headed. So how do you, we do have people in chat right now because we are live, even though this is previously recorded. What do you use to keep yourself organized? What are tips that you might have for everyone else? What do you do? Do you have different methods? I know Fix and Dude said he has 80% of his filament off the floor. So I mean that's commendable, because I saw where his filament was before. So and I know that not everyone can install a rep rack. You don't always have the space for it. So what do you do? And also you can leave a comment below if you're watching this later of what you do, and certainly check out all the links that we have. And in between that, I do want to tell you, Rubbermaid 3 drawers and a newly printed rep rack. As you can see, Austin is looking very, very fancy right now. He is wearing. I didn't realize that you had purchased a MakerDeck t-shirt in the grayscale.
I did.
So
this was a tribute to the folks who like stuff a bit more plain and functional. I love grayscale myself. It allows you to kind of remove the focus on that and then have everything else kind of pop. So yes, I like this shirt.
It's nice. I'm gonna get one. I am gonna get one. And of course, you can go to makerdeck.store and find the grayscale shirt. And it was, yes, it was designed for people in mind that people who don't necessarily like to be wearing color all the time. I mean, I'm have color peeking out of this navy blue hoodie. My hair is color. Everything in my life is colorful. But yeah, sometimes you just want to be grayscale. So
Buys
thank you,
grayscale, doesn't
thank you,
use dark
Fixum
mode.
Dude. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Fixum Dude, for designing that particular setting up those those colors, those absence of colors for our non-colorful people. So I mean that's just part of life.
Yeah, go
So
pick up some today. It's definitely nice merch, and the shirts are actually very high quality. I just wear these like all the time, and they're very comfortable.
oh yes, and for people that are here while we are live, we do have a giveaway, and so make sure that you enter the giveaway. Yes, K2 says, I think I was supposed to purchase that shirt. By now.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think you were. I think you were one of the people that it was designed in mind. You did request it, so get on that. Hello, Mud Wars. Or yeah, so and our Boric is here. We've got all kinds of people in chat right now. So if you do have any questions about how we organize, um, how chaotic we actually are, anything like that, now is the time to sort of get into that, and also, yeah, again, share how you are keeping your maker areas organized. I
So
see.
everyone
Yeah.
in chat, I'm about to dedicate a few of those shelves for filament. I counted have around 60 or so rolls of filament that needs to be put somewhere. Keep finding good deals. Yeah, filament definitely, just like printers, they multiply. So when you place a large order, consider where they're gonna go. And if you are gonna stack them, like how I'm stacking them, make sure you're using like a K2 clip or something that keeps the filament on the inside. Because if you stack them with the filament through a hole, you're pressing down on it. It's a huge pain every time because you have to snip them to remove the crushed filament. And we do have a
What's
deals section on the Discord, so
Yes,
feel free
we do.
to check that out.
Yeah, and we're thinking about doing some more surfacing of deals for makers, and we do have an Amazon affiliate, so we'll be, we're gonna work on surfacing even more deals for you. Yes, you want to use K2 clip. We can't help ourselves. I'm sorry.
No.
We just like it. And actually, this week the K2 clip surpassed 5,000 downloads. It's now almost at 6,000 downloads. So it's not just us. Austin and I do not have the time or the knowledge to create that many accounts. And funny story, I think I told earlier, or like last week, I was messaging with my friend Laura, who she and her husband 3D print. Their kids kind of like take control of what they're 3D printing. But two funny things happened. One is she was asking, oh, we were talking about both Polymaker and Sparta. I helped her pick some filament from Sparta and told her about Polymaker opening up the Canadian store soon because she lives in Alberta. She's Canadian. And then she was talking about the printer that she had, and I linked her to Kevin's profile because he has the same printer. And I'm like, he has a lot of mods and stuff like that. And she goes, oh yeah, that's the clip we use. So I've never talked to Laura about the clip. She does use the clip. And then the other funny thing was she was having an issue with printing, and I think we figured out that it was actually the filament might be snagging or something. Anyway, and she's like, "Yeah, I was trying to print this, and it was Tom Lama's Valentine's vase that I had test printed for him like the day before or 2 days before." So I thought it was just funny coincidences that happened, at least with us, because we didn't follow each other on printables yet. Now we do. And yeah, so anyway, it was kind of cute to have that happen. Small, yeah, it's a small world.
Ron's Mini
Ooh,
RV Life says, I'll be ordering a large printer this week, a print printer.
ooh, a large
And
print printer. So
I'm
tell
not
us
sure
about
if you're
that.
referring to a 3D printer or just like a regular 2D printer. But that is a good point. A lot of the storage is printers. Where are you going to store your printers? If you buy a big printer, it takes up a big space. So consider that. Something
Hmm.
like a Prusa Mini or KP3S, they don't take up a lot of space. But 300 millimeter printers, 400 millimeter printers, some of them don't even fit on desks. So you have to make sure you have the
Hmm.
space for that. And then organize and plan around that. So are you going to have your filament underneath or above, etc.? And make
Yes,
sure your
Fixum
table's
Dude.
sturdy
Where
enough.
where 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 does Fixum Dude store all his Craigslist printers? Fixum Dude has a Fixum Dude is a collector. We will call him a collector. Fixum Dude makes amazing models. But Fixum Dude is a collector, and one of the things he collects is deals that he finds on Craigslist for printers. And also today he received his mini, his Prusa mini that he won. But he didn't win. He collected. He's also a collector. He collected his Prusa meters and cashed in his Prusa meters for a Prusa mini. So um, yeah. So yeah, where are you going to put your printers? I have room. I think I
Hmm.
have room for one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I have printer. We have room for like 9 printers. So if anyone wants to just, I will adopt your printer for you. And yeah, I have
I'll
room
send you
for, I
one.
think, yeah, exactly.
I'll send you a
Well,
couple of
and
ropes.
also, yeah, like for example, Perillo, he has his mini on his desk, but his bamboo has to be downstairs.
Hmm.
For the noise and also for the space because he has a lot of Star Wars in his room, so he doesn't have room for more printers. But yeah, and then also, of course, when it comes to storing printers, you have to think about safety because if you're doing resin, of course, resin is toxic. Grant from 3D
That's
Musketeers.
toxic.
Yep, resin is toxic, and so you want to make sure that you definitely have room for the safety and for all of the supplies and stuff. Just get racks for
Yeah.
more printers.
And if you're
Yeah.
gonna get a
Well, I
rack
mean,
like this right here, make sure you have the depth because if you put your printer with the feet closest to the front, if it's a bed slinger, the bed might go further back
yeah,
than the shelf is.
yeah.
Keep that in
That's
mind.
with when I initially had things just on now it's on the it's on a dresser which has a lot of room. But when it was originally on the calyx, I had to I had to yank it out a
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
Um, so we also want to introduce a segment. As we said at the beginning of last week's Z and Zed, when we sort of introduced ourselves to you, Austin and I are both in the first year of at least of 3D printing.
Can
I
you
think
imagine that?
we've been makers forever, but we are within the first year, and we are always learning. And I think it's actually something I've said to Austin in the last couple of days. I said what I really enjoy about Austin is that he's really thirsty for knowledge. I want to know how to do things better. I want to know how to like fine tune things, but he's always looking like even beyond that. But so one thing, as because we are fairly new to all of this, is we want to after a year you get a patch. Thanks,
You have to
dude.
print it.
Um, yeah, we have to print it. Um, so one thing that we do want to talk about every week is what we have learned and what we are learning. So um, I guess I'll start.
Sure.
I am still usually on Tuesdays, but also sometimes on others days. I get some tutorials, or I come up with an idea and try to implement it in Tinkercad. So my friend K2 here, he assists me with that. So this week I'm working on something, a Valentine's something. Last week, of course, or the last 2 weeks, I was working on my boxes that I was doing. So I am learning a better way to cut out things in Tinkercad. That's what I'm currently learning right now. So, for example, with my star, I sort of layered things and they were existing shapes. But now I want to do things that are not existing shapes in Tinkercad. So I have to sort of create my own shapes, create my own cutouts, and figure out a way. I want to do a Valentine's heart that's similar to my star, with the color swaps, because I love color swaps. So I'm learning
Mhm.
how to actually cut out my own, my own shapes and everything. And another thing I want to learn is how to work in OBS a little bit better. That doesn't really have to do with 3D printing, but it does have to do with, production value and things like
That's
that.
relevant.
Because in like the news of things, I am planning. I love Z and Zed. I love our coffee talks and things like that. But for programming for MakerDeck, one of the things I want to do is start a series where I interview our makers. We do have over 300 makers in over 30 countries, and everybody has a story. Everybody has some sort of interesting story. So what I'm going to do is sort of a layered approach where I will likely start a conversation with these makers in on directly on MakerDeck on Twitch with something like a coffee talk, and then the next step will be to actually do sort of a podcast slash live show on YouTube where I interview the makers. And we have, like I said, we have over 300 makers, and everybody has a story. So um, we already sort of did we did I did one interview a while back, and it wasn't recorded, with Fixum Dude, and Fixum Dude has a really neat story, and there's lots of things that you learn about people. Austin has a really neat story, but we also have like Kieran in Australia, and we have people in Spain, and we have people in Germany, and we have people, all over the globe. And I think it'd be really neat. Yeah, as Pink is saying, I'd love to hear more from makers outside of North America. And so we'll sort of layer it in that sense. And there's different types of makers too. One person that I really want to interview is someone who's become a friend of mine, and that's Wexter. And so he for a living, he does a different type of making than he does as a creator, when he designs models and things like that. And his process is really interesting. If you're one of his patrons, you can join his Discord, and it's really neat where he shares what he's doing, and oftentimes he'll pop on a MakerDeck, and you'll see a model come to life, whether he's printing it or whether he's designing it. So that's anyway, that's one thing I want to learn. But okay, Austin, sorry, I took a lot of time here. What have you learned, and what would you like to learn this week?
Well, I have a lot of stuff that I'm always learning and trying to refresh myself on. Before I say that, make sure to get in on the giveaway before we close. We'll be drawing in a few minutes, so there is a pinned link for a Polymaker giveaway for PLA, PETG, ABS, or ASA Global, anywhere. If you can hear this and you can accept giveaways, it's probably valid. But in terms of learning, man, right now I'm focusing on printer kind of tuning. There's a lot of data to digest on the best settings, the best calibration methods, the best this and that, and everyone has their own best methods. So I'm trying to develop my own method, or at least gather all of the existing knowledge for stuff and combine it. And I'm specifically researching flow, which is essentially the whole printing process, how much filament comes out of your nozzle, and how precise that flow is, and the quality of the flow, etc. Ginger wants
Hi,
to join
Ginger.
us. Say hi, Ginger. But that is my current learning goal, is just understanding flow calibration.
Okay. And what did you learn this week?
What did I learn this week? Print speed has a huge impact on different characteristics of your print. So the Bamboo prints very, very, very fast compared to something like an Ender 3. So your profile is going to be significantly different for many reasons. But in summary, the faster you print, the less material you get because of under extrusion. And you have to kind of fine tune your printer to deal with that specific amount. So I realized that because like the bamboo printers print so fast that if they slow down when they're printing, there might be artifacts because there's too much filament, because it expects to be printing really fast, then it slows down, and now there's all of a sudden a lot of filament. So I've seen a couple of examples for that, and something to keep in mind of. So when you're printing, I like to look at the speed, and I like to scrub through my print and kind of look and see if the whole print is on the walls the same speed, or if there's sections that are a lot slower, if there's a large minimum layer time, etc. So that's what I've learned is that, or have really understood, is printing speed has a huge impact on quality and just calibration in general. Even your first layer, if you calibrate your Z offset or your first layer offset for a specific speed, let's say 40 millimeters a second, if you bump it up to 100 millimeters a second, you're going to have a different offset. You're going to need to swoosh it more because you're getting less material. Or you have to increase the temperature to counteract that. That's what I'm learning. Otherwise, I'm just learning how to organize, which is the point of this whole thing, is what's the best ways of organizing? How do I want my stuff? I spend a long time in the background planning. So this whole thing has been kind of slowly shifted around, and I like to try stuff out before I buy it, if you know what I mean. I like to kind of sample, like, if this desk was here, how does it work? So I'm learning what works best for me, and I'm slowly adapting.
Oh, and I'm going to spring a segment on you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have an idea. See, this is hello, sweet Ginger. I want you to talk about your favorite filament this week. Just pick
My favorite
one
filament.
thing. The filament of the week. Just
filament
one.
of the week.
Just one.
Okay.
Pick
Just one.
Pick something that you really enjoyed working with, or something that you enjoy working with.
It honestly, it has to be Polymaker's new Draft PLA. It's a special blend, and it is their cheapest filament because you buy it in bulk. I love how it's packaged. I love how it's advertised, and I really was impressed in how it printed. Like this was printed on my my Rook printer, the 3D printed printer over here, and it is nearly flawless. So it's a really nice matte PLA. It's not the strongest, but it does look really nice, and it can be used for stuff like these containers or different non-completely structural applications. So draft prints. And since I print a lot of random stuff, or I want to test things, it's nice to be able to print it in a filament like this, and then print it in your expensive favorite colors like Sparta or etc.
So I have a favorite filament. It does not exist anymore. So I'm just teasing people. This is again, like you said, do a draft and then you can use your favorite filaments. This is Polyalchemy Elixir Aquamarine, which is my absolute favorite filament. It is beautiful. It is silky. It is like strong enough. It prints beautifully. And of course, in second place, I would say the Emerald City is just like, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I did have the advantage of finding a Polyalchemy Elixir after it had already been out of business essentially. We do know that our friend David Randolph at Printed Solid has the formulas for the elixirs, but is not able to get the materials for it yet. But I was able to. I have one small rack of it. I was able to get some of it from Digit Makers, and also Josh from Alien gave me some from his
nice.
From his stock at Earth. But Yes, this is my favorite. It is. And if anyone makes anything similar to this, please let me know. You can comment, let me know, because this is my favorite color of all time. I don't have an aquamarine ring on, but I usually do. And this is just, yeah, I have used probably half of it, and I treasure it. So that's my favorite filament. We
That's
are like
beautiful.
Austin and I are both self-admitted, like we love filament. We
Hmm.
we have a problem. Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
not
would
a
say it's a
problem.
problem, but
It's
you
not.
know,
It's not
if
a problem.
I like having options, if I like for this print, oh, this thing's gonna fall out again. This print that I did, again, I shared this earlier in chat. The Outrun organizer and printables. It it looks really good in these colors, and because I had them on hand, I was able to print them.
Yeah, and
So
have fun. Everybody, just don't be afraid to use your filament.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
even RC is in the chat, and he's like, "What are you doing? Why are you using your polyalchemy?" I'm like, "Because it's there. It's there to use. It's there to share." Um, and
Hmm.
and I love it. I love it.
I
So
personally would rather have a printed model like this
mhm.
versus just filament sitting. It
Yeah,
it's nice to
yeah,
display, but I like to have stuff printed, and it's a lot of
yeah.
functional stuff you can print.
Yeah, when I was printing this on MakerDeck, people they were interested in the model. Yes, it's a
Hmm.
beautiful model, pink, but they were interested in the filament, and so I told them this is the Sparta burnt titanium, and then the blue rose, and people were, like I said, it's like the same as the background here. Speaking of filament, we have a giveaway. Oh, yes, Bob Carnes is in chat, and he says it's filament. Use it. And I do want to
Exactly.
say, in the year, at some point, we're both going to hit our year milestone of 3D printing. Bob is one person that's taught me a lot about 3D printing. He's taught me a lot about using the slicer to make sure that my everything prints well, no matter what printer you're using. He taught me a lot about both Bob Carnes and Krusty taught me about how to support models using Prusa. For them, I was using Prusa Slicer, but also Kieran Clark taught me about using like what do they call them? I can't remember what the supports. Anyway, using helper discs to make sure your models print flat, all sorts of things. So there's and I've actually been able to share that knowledge with people that come into chat on MakerDeck on Twitch. And come into our Discord asking for Mickey Mouse ears is one thing. Yeah, one way helper discs, Mickey Mouse ears, and I've been able to share that knowledge with other people. So I think that's one of the really nice things about the greater 3D printing community is that people are always willing to help. But the way that you help people is to sort of get them to help themselves too. So people like Kieran and Bob and Kevin and Austin, even these are people that have helped me figure things out as I go along. So we're all sort of helping each other, which is
We're
great.
all in it, and we're on the same team here, so let's help each other out.
We are on the same team, no matter what filament you use, no matter what printer you use. And yes, Bob is
Yep.
saying knowledge is no good if you don't share it. So
Share your knowledge. And I will share this information. Last chance to get in on the giveaway. We're going to close it in 1 minute, and then I will draw for the win. So thanks for tuning in, and stick around for a few more minutes.
mm-hmm.
Love to be able to make your own filament one day. Yeah, it's not simple to make filament. You need quite a bit of equipment. So it would be cool to have more custom batches of filament. I wonder how feasible that would be for companies to, you have a color you want, like a very specific one, and then you say, hey, can you make this color? Usually they will be able to, you just need a minimum order quantity.
Yeah,
But it'd be nice to find
protopasta
different
is
companies that do
yeah,
smaller
protopasta is
batches. That'd be cool.
yeah, protopasta is one of those for sure. That's
Very cool.
RC
Yep.
saying that. And RC is actually he's done the filament splicing, and he created, like I mentioned, I think in the past, he created the candy corn filament to sort of
Yeah.
prank Perillo. But Perillo used it all. He used it all, And and he said that Filament Stories literally talked about
Nice,
this. Yeah.
nice.
So I have a whole section of protopasta. I love
Like your
my
protopasta.
protopasta, my nebulas. Yeah, I really do. I am I'm an equal. Yeah, this is mostly protopasta, and there's Sparta in here too. You know, I love that. So yeah, RC says I made like 10 spools of candy corn filament for people. So of course,
All right.
RC's far more advanced than we are.
I am grabbing the entries from this form. So that is it.
Perfect.
Let's unpin the link.
Excellent. I will do that.
Paste these over into the wheel of names. And I will share that. There we are.
You can get some hype in chat too if you want. Whatever type of hype you can find.
Second stream, so I need a number between 1 and 2 to shuffle.
7.
I would say 3.
Okay.
So a number between 1 and 2.
2. 7.
I'll make this a bit bigger. Let's see, was it this way?
And I haven't dropped anything yet.
No.
Like, what kind of stream is this? I haven't dropped anything yet.
I did drop.
It must be a YouTube thing. Yeah.
2. All right, getting lots of 2s in chat. So 2 shuffles. 1, 2, and good luck, everyone. The winner is
we got
Rob ENC.
Rob Banks.
Very cool.
Rob Banks.
Congratulations on your win. I will be reaching out to you via your email or message you on Discord if I have your information. So congratulations.
And if Rob, yeah, congratulations. If you know Rob, he's printing Pokeballs. He's printing Pokeballs on MakerDeck. That is actually, he prints all sorts of things, but the latest thing he was printing definitely was Pokeballs. So no, have you ever printed anything? Have you ever printed anything for Ginger?
Yes, I do. I print spaghetti. Ginger loves spaghetti. Like, it's like stuff like this. Oh yeah, she goes crazy over. Want some spaghetti? Huh? Hey, spaghetti? No. Usually when it's on the floor.
No, of
She's getting ready for bed.
Of course not. Yeah.
All right. So that's all we have for today, folks. Make sure to leave a like on your way out. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you're watching this in the future, leave us some comments down below. What do you use for organization? And is there anything we showed that you might not have seen? That you might, like this little nice desktop organizer. Maybe go print that. Otherwise...
And also, yeah, and give us some ideas of what you'd like to see us cover.
Yes.
Austin and I have been sort of brainstorming show ideas and possibilities. We definitely want to bring you a good variety of things and share what we're learning and learn from you.
So feel free to leave a comment on that or a suggestion over in the Discord. Mm-hmm. And as always, stay printing.
Mm-hmm. Merci beaucoup, mes amis. Thank you for being part of this greater MakerDeck project. We love your participation on Twitch. We love you in chat here, and I can't wait to show you what we're up to next. We've had a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, and a lot more to come to get things together for our vision for 2023. And for everyone that's watching us right now on YouTube and in the future. Thank you for being here, and please leave something in chat. If you were here, how many toes does Ginger have? You should guess.
She has all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Merci beaucoup, mes amis. Thank you very much, everybody, and Zombie, I'll let you end.
Bye.